Real life examples. Now, making it tangible is very important. Matter of fact, is mandatory to get your point across, to emphasize on how critical the situation could be. You must make it tangible. Now, the concept that I want you to use is asking the customer what would they do if they're involved in an accident. Now, your goal is to put them in an actual situation, to have them visualize the process of leaving without insurance, being involved in an accident, and going through all the negatives, all the consequences. So you're going to create a story, and then you're going to ask them, what would you do if you're in that situation? What would you say if you're in that situation? Would your decision change if you know that's a possibility, and if you know that you could put yourself in that position? So you're gonna discuss a few topics or a few factors that are going to be crucial in the process of having them understand how critical the situation is. Now, number one, you're definitely going to emphasize on the fact that we really can't predict the future. There's no way of knowing when we're going to be involved in a situation. It could simply take a second. If they're in that situation, the first thing that they're going to do is maybe regret their decision, start blaming other people. They're going to obviously encounter so many negatives, and there's no reason for them to put themselves in that situation. So you're going to tell them, sir, I completely understand that maybe the options may not be exactly what you were looking for, but let me give you the bad news. The bad news is this. As soon as you leave the office, there's nothing you can do at all. Technically, what I mean is, if you leave without insurance, there's no coming back if you're involved in a situation. Now, the worst of all is, if you put yourself in that position, just imagine for a second, just follow me, just imagine you're driving, you're leaving the parking lot, you're driving home, obviously today. You're driving home, you're technically done for the day, you're gonna go and spend the rest of the day with your family. On your way home, someone just cuts you off and technically gets in front of you, and you end up colliding with this other vehicle. So technically you hit this vehicle. So one of the laws in California, if you hit someone, you're the one at fault. Unless, I mean, there's a specific reason why you're not at fault. But most of the time, you're going to be considered the one at fault. Now, put yourself in that position. Just imagine a car gets in front of you. You have no opportunity to brake, no other alternatives to swerve to the left or swerve to the right, because it's exactly one of those situations where there's no time at all. You hit a vehicle. Just imagine, bam, you hit a vehicle. What would you do? What would be the first thing you're going to tell yourself? Besides, why me? This is bad luck. You're going to curse the other person, of course. You're going to get into a very negative mentality simply because you're putting yourself in a position that you weren't expecting, or you encountered a situation that you weren't expecting. Now imagine, one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to regret your decision. You're going to start blaming everybody else. You're going to blame the other person. You're going to blame, maybe, I don't know, luck, bad luck. You're going to start getting so negative on the fact that you don't have insurance. Now you got to fix your vehicle. Now you got to fix their vehicle. Now you got to go through the whole back and forth with the insurance companies. You may have to go to court. I mean, your license could be suspended. You're going to have possibly even get a ticket for not having insurance. So we're talking about all these consequences. So just once again, just imagine you put yourself in that position. What would you say? What would be the first thing that you're going to tell yourself? Or what would be the first person you blame? I don't want you to blame me. I'm doing my job. I'm making sure that at least I get my point across, simply because we want you to be insured. But what are you going to tell yourself? What are you going to say? What's one of the first things that you're going to say? Because you got to remember, as soon as you leave, you're not 100% certain of what's going to happen. So my goal is to give you the option so you can leave with insurance, to give you the option so at least you have your options, you know exactly the pros and cons, and you can make the best decision. So once again, what would you say? As soon as you're involved, technically 3 seconds after, what's going to be one of the first things that's going to come to your thoughts? What's one of the thoughts that's going to come up? What's one of the statements that you're going to say? What are you going to tell yourself? How upset or happy are you going to be?